Cerberus narrations. Because who needs sleep anyway?
My best friend Diamond and I took a trip down to a little town called Oxnard on the Californian coast to visit my aunt. Since we left in the afternoon, we didn't arrive until sundown. My aunt still wasn't home, so we decided to head to the beach. When we arrived, it was already dark, but since I hadn't seen the ocean in years, I didn't care. We grabbed our blankets and started for the sand. That's when we heard him. About 200 feet away was a man. He had his back turned to us and was screaming and flailing his arms around wildly. We tried looking around, but even in the dark, we could tell there was no one around for him to be screaming at. A little wary, we continued walking towards the shore. Excited, I put my blanket down and looked up. The man had turned around now and was facing us, still screaming and waving his arms around. I looked up at Diamond and told her we could come back tomorrow in the day. We started walking towards the car, and I glanced over. I don't know if it was the dark, but it looked like he was closer, still screaming. I looked down and asked Diamond if he was looking over. She looked up and started walking faster. He's coming towards us. I picked up my pace as I saw my car in the distance. I pulled out my keys from my pocket. Almost there. Run! I turned to see Diamond running through the sand as fast as she could. Terrified at this point, I turned back to see this man sprinting full force in my direction. I let out a scream as I bolted towards my car. Diamond was already there, screaming at me to open the door. I climbed in, locked the doors, and floored the gas. I looked in the rearview mirror and see the man still sprinting towards my car, now yelling obscenities at the top of his lungs. I sped down the street, out of view of this man, out of the neighborhood we parked in, to my aunt's house. She was pulling up just as we were, and I broke down and told her everything. She called the police, but since we were in the dark and couldn't see his face, we couldn't give them a description. They said they'd go check, but without a description, there was nothing they could do. Diamond and I stayed up all night, too terrified to sleep. The next morning, the police called my aunt. They had checked the area we were at the night before. They had found multiple knives scattered through the sand. The last one they found was on the sidewalk, next to where my car was, hidden in some bushes.
This takes place in a small, relatively quiet beach town in the southeastern United States about 15 years ago. I went to the beach with my friends and our family when we were about 15 or 16 years old. We had a bonfire on the beach and a few of the guys were drinking. One of the guys from our group got really drunk, and we had to pretty much carry him back up to the condo where we were spending the night. He forgot his shoes down where the fire was, so his sister, our friend and I went back to get them. We had to exit through a private gate from the condo just to reach the beach, and then pass by the public beach access boardwalk to get to the place where we had gathered earlier. That's where we saw two larger people coming down towards us on the beach from the public access entrance. They almost bumped us, and they never said a word. It was really dark, and round about midnight or something, and there were no lights to speak of where we were. So we get the shoes, and then the sister picks them up, and when she stands, I see a laser on her forehead. So I tell her, "Hey, you have a laser on your face." She replies and says that I have one as well. So then we sort of swat at them for a minute like idiots, and after realizing that it did nothing, head back over to the private access to get to the condo. We had to pass those two people on the public access boardwalks again, obviously. They were just standing, not moving and not talking, but you could see the light from their cigarette in their hand. We get almost to the gate when I hear this weird pop, and then like a whizzing sound, and then a thunk, as if something were to hit against a wooden gate. We stop and listen, and then we hear it again, and this time my sister drops the shoes and grabs her leg. We realise that she has been shot with a bullet. So I scream that we run, and we struggle to put the lock on the gate and then just haul ass out back to the condo. The bullet grazed her leg, but left an enormous welt that broke the skin, covering the entire outside of her thigh front to back, and probably 4 inches up and down. We later realised that the lasers on our faces were the sights from the guns. So creepy dudes on the beach, let's not meet again.
It was the summer of 2011, and I just turned 16 and got my first car. So, like any 16-year-old kid, I like to hop in my car, turn up the music to her splitting levels, and go. I started doing a lot of outdoor stuff when I got my car. My friends and I liked to go fishing and hiking. One day, I wanted to go fishing, but everyone was busy, so I decided to head out on my own. No big deal. I packed my car and headed to the beach. It was a nice, warm day on the gorgeous California coast. The only thing that would make it better was having a friend with me. I walked onto the pier and began fishing. People came and went, occasionally making conversation with me. I was there all day, and around 4 p.m, an Asian man who appeared to be in his mid-40s walked up and set up his fishing stuff right next to me. Whatever, I thought to myself. He started making conversation, and before you know it, 2 hours had passed. Oh shit, I better get home. Hope you catch something good out here. I started packing my stuff, and this guy says, "Oh, hey, can I have your phone number so we can text?" I wasn't even thinking. I normally don't hesitate because I was used to giving it out a lot at school. But what the fuck did I just do? I thought to myself. At that moment, I already knew nothing good would come from this. Sure enough, he called it to make sure I wasn't lying. The creepy bastard. I left without saying anything. Guess what? He followed me back to the parking lot, saying he needed to go too. Oh, damn it. My heart started racing. He was gonna follow me. I knew it. Luckily for me, he parked way on the other end of the lot. He asked me to wait for him, 'cause he still wanted to talk. Okay, yeah, I'll be here. Yeah, right. I packed my car quickly, changed out of my sandy beach-smelling clothes, jumped in my car, and drove away. My phone went off, and he started following me to the freeway entrance. I didn't answer. As soon as I got on the on-ramp, I floored it, and started weaving through traffic, at 95 miles per hour, trying to lose this creep. He already had my cell number and knew my car. Luckily, I was 45 minutes from home, so I had plenty of time to lose him. Thanks to my trusty Sky on TC, I was able to lose him after a 15-minute car chase. I got off the freeway and went through some city streets where I managed to lose him after making various turns and getting back on the freeway. He started harassing me over text messages, saying that he wanted me and he would get me one way or another. He would ask me for nudes. He sent me some of his own, and I kept the messages to show the police if things went further. After months of not replying to his messages, he asked me, "Are you mad at me?" I didn't ask for the nudes. That was my friend messing around. Chills ran through my body every time I got a message from him. I was on the edge at all times, constantly checking my surroundings, and started carrying a switchblade. One day, I finally replied to a message with, who's this? I just bought this phone with this number. You must have the wrong number. Lucky for me, that's all it took. He bought it. It stopped. I erased everything he sent me and went on with life. Since then, I learned not to just blurt things out like that so quickly. Who knows what this dirtbag would have done to me? It still scares me to think about it.
I had just graduated from high school in June, and about 2 weeks later, some friends and I decided to go camping out on the beach and have a bonfire and whatnot. There were a ton of people there too, so we weren't too worried about some shit going down. A lot of them were still awake at their campsites well into the night, and at this age, no bonfire is complete without loads and loads of pot. So there are 4 of us and we're all hotboxing the tent. We're really turned up, and we're just munching away on whatever we can get our hands on whilst listening to music outside by the fire. 1 AM rolls around and my mum calls me because she suddenly changed her mind and wanted me home. But I was so high, I wasn't capable of leaving just yet. So I waited an hour. So we hop into my buddy's truck and tear up the beach on the 10-minute drive back to the parking lot where I had left my car. We get there, I give everyone a hug, and they tell me to drive safe or to just bite the bullet and stay with them. I tell them I'll just nap in my car for a bit, so I can calm down a little before driving. They leave, and I'm sitting in my car for about 15 minutes, but I just began to get creeped out. Everywhere was deserted. It's like the entire city was empty and there was nobody in it but me, and it was just so dark and eerie. It was unsettling to say the least, and I thought, forget this, I'm getting out of here, at least to a more lit place. So I turned on the car and blacked out. That's when I started to leave the lot, and I noticed a pair of headlights coming over the other end of the lot. Shit. That must be the police, I thought. Nope. I came to a stoplight and looked in front of my mirror. It was a black sedan. Oh, okay, not a big deal. Maybe they just happened to leave the same way I did, which was normal. But then they started taking the same turns that I was. I was starting to get concerned. I was then considering to take the back roads to my town, but it was late and I was tired, and the freeway would be much faster and safer. As soon as I got on, I stomped the gas pedal pushing 95, and they kept it up. I tried switching lanes and falling back just so that I would be behind them, but they'd always do the same and kept up with me. They followed me for the 20-minute drive back to my hometown. I was getting very scared, and was finally able to lose them by turning quickly into a narrow hill road, hiding my car behind some trees and shutting it off quickly. I rolled down the window just a bit and watched these guys stop in the middle of the street that I turned off of. They got out their car and looked around cluelessly. These two guys had to be in their mid-40s. I was absolutely terrified. My heart was racing so badly. I was praying that they wouldn't spot me. After a few minutes, they got back in their car and drove off. But I waited 10 minutes before getting back on the road. I managed to make it home safe as it was a very close distance away from where I was. And when I was in, I locked every door and window. Needless to say, I didn't sleep much that night, and I stared out my window all night just in case they found me.
Hello guys, the Deathless Lord Cerberus here. If you want to hear even more scary true beach stories, then I would encourage you to go right on over to Mortis Media's channel and give it a subscribe. Not only will you hear another part to this video, but you'll also hear videos from a person that puts his heart and soul into making the best content available. It's been an absolute pleasure working on this video with Mortis, and it's been a lot of fun. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and when I reach my 1000 subscriber mark on YouTube, please expect a video showing my thanks and my appreciation. I was going to say it now, but I think it's worth a video in itself to tell you guys how much you mean to me, and how I see each and every one of you that shows me support as a friend, and not just some stranger. We're a community. We're a family. We are the Cerberus Cult. But until that appreciation video, take care guys.